you very much and very good morning. Honorable Justice Mr. Gowda, Honorable Shri P.K. Lahiri, Dr. Rajaram Jaipuria and Dr. M. Ashraf Rizvi, my dear students and delegates. First of all, it was great listening to Professor Rizvi and also Mr. Rajaram Jaipuria. I know Jaipuria family for a number of years because I had the pleasure of working in IDBI, IFCI, SIDBI. And I've seen this family right from his parents' day, that what we call corporate social responsibility now, they used to do even 50 years back. Now, I'm sure all of us are waiting to hear Mr. Gowda and Lahiri, so I'd like to be very brief. You know, I am reminded, we were talking of business, and if you see any finance book, the first chapter of that will be, why do a business is established? Either it is profit maximization or wealth maximization or taking optimization of everyone, shareholders, employees, customers. So actually optimization or maximization. And if we talk of only profit and wealth maximization, nothing should come in between. And we should do everything possible. Dr. Rajaram Jaipuria and Mr. Rizvi also said that everything within ethics or anything without ethics. I sometimes wonder, you know, some professions were made in this world. For example, chartered accountant. I hope if there is a chartered accountant, he should not mind. What was the job? The job is to see that he has faithfully presented the figures by going into the vouchers and everything. But who is the best chartered accountant? A best chartered accountant is one who has helped a company to save taxes. Is he the best chartered accountant? Is it ethical? In tax, avoidance of tax is okay, but evasion is bad. So, similarly, sir, Gowda sir, kindly excuse me, lawyers. The profession is to see that judgment is given. But suppose there is a murderer. Everyone knows there is a murderer. And there is a lawyer, by his wit, by his knowledge, he makes that man free. Probably society calls him a great lawyer. Oh, what a wonderful lawyer is. But is it ethical? So, in the same spirit, let's talk of business. Business is supposed to make money. Dr. Rajaram did mention, Professor Rizvi also mentioned, that there is a very fine difference between greed and need. And I go back to, you know, we were really fortunate to have a person in our nation called Dr. Mahatma Gandhi. I mean, if you read his books on every subject, he was not a businessman. He made a statement much before our independence that a businessman should treat his business as if he is holding these assets as a trustee. The day a businessman thinks that whatever he has acquired, whether it is Dr. Rajaram Jaipuria, or it is Mukesh Ambani, or it is Mr. Ratan Tata, now Mr. Mistry, if they start feeling that this 5 lakh crore worth of assets belong to me, and I will decide how to do and what is good for me, I think that decision making may not be proper. But if he or she decides that, okay, somehow, by my ability of course, but for everything, this 5 lakh crore has been given to me to be treated as a trustee. And if you see the larger life of the picture, I mean, when we are born, everyone knows we have to go away. We come without anything in hand, we have to go without any hand. You remember Alexander the Great? So, for the time being we are here, we are trustee, maybe for future generation and all that. So why should we do anything for temporary benefits, for limited purpose benefit? Why can't we treat businesses as if we have been very fortunate to get the position of decision making and act as a trustee? And more often, those who have done it have succeeded in businesses as well. They have made more profits. Let me give you examples from banking field where I had the fortune of working. You may have heard about the name of a bank called Barings. There was a greed and bank collapse. You must have heard about what happened in US and the contagion effect were all over the world subprime crisis. I mean, they were intelligent boys and girls like you who thought of structuring products to make more profit for their organization, but ultimately not only killed their institutions but killed the economies of various countries. But there are certain organizations which will never do anything. And if you permit, I'll leave one very beautiful article which I got hold of yesterday on creating an ethical framework for the financial services industry. Now, what does it say? We must pursue profits, but we should not pursue profit at the expense of everything else, including reputation. Let me go back without mentioning the names. I had the fortune of working in one of the largest banks of this country. There are number of industrialists, believe me, I'll close my eyes and write any check when I'm giving a loan to them. And there are large number of companies, I'll not even open my checkbook, whatever may be the projections. How does it happen? I mean, I can't decide as a banker, I must keep my eyes open. It is a reputation built over the years. We have organizations in this country which create certain enabling environment. For example, SEBI, it tells something. There is a banking code supervision, it tells something. There is a Companies Act, it tells something. Now, these are all framework given broadly. Is it enough? If law was so effective, then no crime should happen. So what must happen, and I'm really grateful to Jaipuria Institute for having this conference. Actually, ethics everyone must contribute. It's very easy to say, like, let me go back to my young days. A family where parent tells his child, don't do any shortcut. Do things properly. That family, that child prospers. I was just hearing our respected Justice Gowda, when he was in 7th class, his teachers loved him because that seed of justice of Supreme Court was in that school. That school, the teachers recognized that here is a boy who will do wonders. So similarly, I come across some people, they tell their child, try to do shortcut. If you see it on the traffic all the time in Delhi, there are two sides of the road. Some people think that they are smarter, they can take a shortcut and cross. In the process, what happens? Everyone gets stuck, including that person itself. I am reminded, one of my uncle told when India became independent in 1947, a Tangewala, those days Tangewala were very popular, in Amritsar, he started driving on the right side of the road. And a cop stopped him. Why are you driving on the right side of the road? He said, I thought India has become now independent, so the British rules will still apply. So, there are certain code of conducts. It has to be imbibed. Believe me, we have in this world people like Mark Zuckerberg who create value and share that value. Now, those are the ethical things. In India itself, you have Premji, you have Narayan Murthy. Why do boys and girls feel so happy to look at figure of Mr. Narayan Murthy? And there are some more industrialists whose face may be very good, but people will not stand up for him. Now, this is built over the years, and we sitting here can't change the world, but we can discuss. I can only assure you, those individuals and those organizations which are ethical will more have probability of being successful and more probability of living much longer. And in this connection, I would really like, certain things which are happening in the globe are very important. For example, let me give you, this Facebook, Twitter, and all that, and of course media. When I used to work for IDBI, some 3 years back, we decided that we must go on the Facebook. And there was huge criticism from my colleagues saying, oh no, then people will start criticizing us, someone may start writing something against the bank, any customer. I said, fine, let's do it. And it was immense. We were the first public sector bank to go to all four, Twitter, Facebook, Google+, YouTube, and the results were fantastic. We used to get complaints, no problem. Now similarly, an ethical business, I am dreaming of for a day, which will happen, if India will not be the first, it will be one of the first, that we talk of financial non-inclusion. And I'm really amazed. In India today, I think yesterday Raghuram Rajan said 90 crore, but I believe something between 75 to 80 crore mobiles we have. And just see the irony, we don't have so many toothbrushes in use than we have mobile. 75 crore people don't use toothbrush every day, but 75 crore people have mobile. Rich have more than 2 or 3 mobile, but only 1 toothbrush. Poor has no toothbrush but a mobile. Now, if somehow this mobile itself becomes a purveyor of credit, deposit, I mean, this will be something most ethical thing to do. And I'm a great believer. And you know, the other day someone was saying the glass is half full. Someone thinks the glass is full, and some brilliant man has said that glass is always full, half with water, half with air, and air probably is more important than water. So let's look, and you youngsters are the future of this nation, and I'm really grateful to Jaipuria Institute for calling me here and giving me an opportunity to hear Justice Gopal Gowda. Thank you very much, and wish you all the best.